conflict as the world teetered on the brink of anarchy.
Moving on to the week's controversy, it revolves around the upcoming Activision Blizzard game Overwatch and a change made to a character at the behest of a fan. In an open letter to the developers of the game posted to the Battle.net forums, user Phipps says that she appreciates the variety of characters in Overwatch, particularly the character known as Tracer, who's cool and all, but has a victory pose, this one, that according to this user, reduces Tracer to nothing more than a bland female sex symbol. Phipps goes on to explain that she's got nothing against quote-unquote sexy female characters in the game, but that the pose seems out of place for the character of Tracer, and she felt that it gave the game the wrong sort of message, that all female characters have to be represented in this way, making it something that she wouldn't want her daughter to have to experience in the game. Blizzard responded a few days later by removing the victory pose from the game. As you can imagine, this caused quite a stir in a number of gaming circles. The anti-censorship crowd roared out immediately, guns blazing, talking about women's liberation, shouting that female characters should be free to flaunt their stuff without shame. Meanwhile, another crowd roared back that Activision Blizzard should feel free to make whatever changes they feel fit their game. Yet another set of folks is insisting that this somehow constitutes video game fraud, and that Blizzard owes anybody who's ever considered buying Overwatch money in a class action lawsuit. There's a full spectrum of opinions on the matter. Personally, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't think that the pose is a big deal, especially seeing as other characters have it, such as Hanzo. What makes it different for Trace, however, seems to be her costume design, which places a fair amount of emphasis on her rear, compared to Hanzo's. Notice the difference?
What are you looking at?
I do think that it's important for a game with such a heavy focus on character to make sure that character actions fit character personalities. If the players feel strongly that some aspect of the game doesn't serve the story or a character, but rather detracts from said character or element of the story, you know what? Maybe the developers should consider changing it. That's not censorship, that's listening to your audience. At the same time, are you making changes to avoid backlash? Are these changes coming at the cost of artistic integrity? Some people feel that the change is disempowering. User Emma Moonkin took to the forums to express her disappointment in the decision. Much like Phipps, she too is a mother, and she doesn't think that Tracer's now infamous pose sent the wrong message. In fact, she felt that the removal of the pose sends another message. That female characters can either be strong or sexy, but not both, and that the change is alienating. The controversy over this change is going to burn bright for some while. Jeff Kaplan, the director of Overwatch, took to the game's forums to say that the art team didn't have a hard time pulling the pose because they didn't feel that it suited Trace very much in the first place, and that they already had a replacement pose ready for the character. Kaplan also said that if anybody takes issue with the decision, they're free to share their concerns and thoughts. This is a big issue, and we invite you, our audience, to weigh in. Do you think that Blizzard made the right decision in removing the pose from the game? Is it a matter of political correctness, or was it an artistic decision that better served the aesthetic and character of the game? Should game developers be worried about making specific groups of people comfortable, and do you think that this constitutes censorship? Let us know on Twitter at BlackmanandRobin. We'd be happy to share your thoughts on next week's episode.
You know, the world could always use more heroes.